Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have some oracle messages laid out. I have the crystal ball over here to my left. I will be scrying throughout this reading. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. This may or may not resonate for you. Before I start, there's something kind of cool. And I actually want to share this because to the woman that left the comment about the orbs, and I said something about it's all dog fur, I assure you, I did catch one for you. So you guys can check that out if you want to go to the new moon video. The last 10 seconds. A lot of times I have things floating around, and it's the angle of my window and my lights along with the puppy fur that's floating around, because I've got two puppies right there. See it? Just something fun that I want to share with you guys. So we're going to get into this, and this is going to be the empath reading part 2. So I'm going to open up. If this reading isn't for you, just leave it behind. Don't take it if it's not confirmation of something that you already know, right? Not here to tell anybody something about themselves they don't know, or enlighten them to something new. Only information that could help you on your journey. So let's see. Opening up, stepping aside, letting spirit step through, and receiving information. Okay, so this is going to be for people who are very much aware that they are psychic empaths. Oh, I use the term psychic empath. I use that term over on my other channel. So, and the reason why I said psychic empath typically is to distinguish between people who have empathy and people who are empaths. There's a difference. Not all people who are empaths actually have empathy. Empaths means that you absorb the energies, emotions, thoughts, feelings of other people. And it can be very hard to deal with, especially when you don't know how to distinguish between your own and those of other people. So we do have this as an obstacle here, and we're having a hard time learning about it here. I see teachability, but I'm really seeing this as learning, right? We don't have anybody necessarily blowing that horn. It's dead. We don't have anybody here really making that call. And like I said yesterday, there's not a lot of people that talk about psychic empathy that honestly, in my opinion, know a whole lot about it. There's a lot of like information out there that keeps getting repeated, but really, when has it worked for you, right? People that teach the like shielding and stuff, but if you're really a psychic empath, I haven't found that works for anybody. It works for people who, you know, they like to fancy themselves empaths, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I just can't for the purpose of this message. Some of this stuff might seem a little judgmental, it might seem blunt in this one, and I apologize for that beforehand, but it's very important to get this information right so that it can help the people who aren't able to find things to help them. So with that aside, we do have refusal of the call. But that's not what I'm being drawn to right now. What I'm being drawn to is dream thief. And so there's some of you feel a little afraid to go out places. You feel a little bit afraid to be yourself and to be seen, because it gives a lot of anxiety, right? Psychic empaths by nature are going to deal with a lot of social anxiety. And we talked a little bit in yesterday's video. If you didn't watch part 1, I definitely urge you to watch that one, because that's going to lead into this. We talked a little bit yesterday about how to bring your focus into you and how to work on you, your relationship to yourself, your sense of self-value, how important you make yourself as opposed to how important you make other people. And that's really going to clear up a lot of your social anxiety. I can promise you that. Like, I am living proof of that. Living proof of that. And that's not why I don't show my face. I actually explained this to somebody earlier. It's because I do have a bit of a science background, and so I am trying to make it so that should I ever have to get back into a science field, that I don't have to go through my YouTube and delete all my videos, right? If I have to delete 1 or 2, so yes, I will probably show my face here or there, I can do that. But the other reason is because these messages aren't about me, right? These messages I want them to be about the message. And sometimes when we're looking at a person talk, we get a little caught up on the person, the identity of the person. And I've got lots of personality. I don't need you seeing my face and giving it more personality. So yeah, it's just about the messages, man. I'm trying to take myself out of it. But here what we have is we have this sense of anxiety. And so this is the first part, right? This is the first step, is to really try to figure out ways to get rid of that anxiety. And so this message is going to be not only this reading where I use these cards, and I don't know why I'm clarifying this. I guess it's for people who never watched me before. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, pro tips. Now, I don't know if you're going to read this anywhere else. This is stuff that I just came to on my own. just knowing what I know about energy. You as a psychic empath are naturally sensitive, right? But let's get into a concept called, it's a phenomenon called synesthesia. And I'm very convinced that most people have a level of synesthesia. They're just not aware of their own thoughts enough to figure it out. So, and I've tested this. I've asked many people about this, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. That does happen. Synesthesia is your tool to developing your psychism. So, psychic empaths, let's think of a feeling, right? How do you feel right now? Now let's use our imagination. If you saw that feeling as a color, what color would it be? Right? It's not that hard, right? You can call a color for that immediately. If you were to assign a sort of flavor to it, what would it be? That one might be a little harder, right? And they're going to be easy or hard depending on the other abilities that you have at your disposal. All of us have like the whole host of psychic abilities, and that's something that we're not taught. We're taught that we have one, we have two. No, you have all of them. You have all of them. The thing is that you'll have predominant ones, depending on what parts of your brain are most active, where your neural pathways are the most built up, what you pay attention to the most, which is largely determined by your personality type. And a lot of people don't ascribe to the Myers-Briggs personality types. That's fine. I'm not like well versed in them, but I am very convinced that that has to do with your personality type. You don't have to agree with me. That's absolutely fine. We're allowed to have our own opinions. Because I'm sure I'm going to get a comment about that. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that I fit into a type. Calm down, old man. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that serious. So if you're a person you're a very visual person, you're probably going to have clairsentience. Do you recognize that you do or not? You know, that's the thing, is we have to realize that we have to recognize our abilities before we can actually say, I have this. We think of stereotypical clairsentience. Oh my God, I got slammed back in my chair and I saw this vision. That's not how it works for a lot of people, right? For a lot of people, it works that they have very excellent skills of imagination. Did you know your imagination is the gateway to the psychic? It doesn't mean that everything you imagine is, but it means that if you consciously use your imagination as a stepping off point, you know, like I said, this isn't a reading like most readings, and I'm saying that mostly for the new people that are watching this. And so let's get into a little exercise. When you are noticing that you are having anxiety, and I'm not talking about anxiety when you're out with people. I'm talking about when you're by yourself and you're having anxiety. And for a lot of empaths, this happens when there's something that you're worried about. A lot of times it happens in your interpersonal relationships. You're worried somebody's mad at you. You know, why hasn't boyfriend, girlfriend texted or called? You know, things like that. Like, because there are codependent issues within empaths. That's how we become to be empaths in the first place. And so one thing I want you to try, when you're feeling that way, I want you to close your eyes, right? You can try it now if you want. And you take a couple deep breaths, and you feel that energy outside of you, right? Because you have your anxiety inside of you, but what's that anxiety? That anxiety is actually a resistance, and it's resistance to the circumstance that's outside of you. And you know, you'll picture that like a little ocean that's trying to get in. It's an energy ocean. It's trying to get in, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it if you calm down and actually pay attention. You'll feel it as like kind of this tension that you have right here. Right? And the anxiety is going on, and you have these tense muscles in your body, and you have this tense energy right here. What you're going to do is you're going to take a couple deep breaths, and you're going to open up, and you're going to imagine that ocean coming into you and through you. And you're going to say to yourself, I allow this energy, which is the circumstance, I allow this energy to pass through me. I allow this energy to pass through me. You can say, I allow this energy to enter me and pass through me, if that helps you with the visualization a little bit better. But then you're going to say, everything is exactly as it should be. And what you're saying when you say that is you understand that whatever the circumstance in your life is right now, because when we're having anxiety, it's either a relationship or it's something that we're worried about, you can't help it, right? If this relationship is bothering you that much, the only thing that you can do is end it so that it doesn't bother you again. Right? If you're not going to do that, then what's happening right now is you're learning a lesson to make you strong enough to eventually do that. Meaning, what's happening right now needs to happen. And so what we're saying is everything is exactly as it should be. You know, the universe and our lives are constantly trying to do the best for us. They're constantly trying to give us the best. The thing is that we get in our way, and then sometimes other people's realities bump up against ours and get in our way, and we can decide, do we let them or do we not let them, you know? Obviously, if you get mugged on the street, that's different. But like, we have a certain amount of control. We have 99% of the control, and we don't even realize it because we've fallen into this trap of only seeing how we get victimized all the time, right? Especially if you're an empath. And the important thing to taking your energy back and to strengthening your boundaries is to get out of that mindset. Start paying attention. How could I have prevented this? How could I have prevented that? Were there red signs? Were there red flags? Should I have ended that? Did I let this last too long? You know, we have to start taking responsibility for those things, because the whole reason why we have psychic empathy, why we have empathy this strong that affects us in the first place, is because we don't have those boundaries. We don't take that responsibility. And so calling back our energy, taking that responsibility, and the gift won't leave you. I promise you, the gift won't leave you. It's there. It's already there. What's going to happen is that you're going to become the kind of person that's better at shutting off the stuff you don't want. And sometimes you can't. And that's where the next trick comes in. So when you are having emotions and you're just like on this onslaught of emotions, you know they're not your emotions, or you're wondering if they're not your emotions, I want you to stand in front of your sink, in front of the tap, right? And I want you to turn on the cold water. And it has to be cold water. It's not going to work if it's warm water. You can try it. And if you have sea salt, it's going to work a lot better than table salt. But you're going to put just like a teaspoon, tablespoon, or as much as you want of it honestly doesn't have to be much, of salt in your right hand. And you're going to close your hand around that salt and put your hand next to the water. And you're going to sit there and you're going to feel that feeling. You're going to locate it in your body. And we're going to get into why the body is so important for psychic empathy here in a second. You're going to locate where in your body this energy is, this feeling, where it's coming in, right? Where it's manifesting inside of you. And you're going to allow it to come into you again, and you're going to see it as a color that you don't want, right? Use that synesthesia. What color is this energy? And you're going to assign it a color, and you're going to breathe in, gather that energy, breathe out through your arm into the salt. You're going to do that until you feel that that color has dissipated and has gone into the salt. You might be doing it for a minute. You might only do it once, right? It just depends. Allow your imagination and what you're seeing guide you. And when you have it in your hand, you're going to put your hand under the water, and you're going to let the water take all the salt. Make sure it drains down the sink all the way, that all the salt is gone. Don't go touching it again, you know, like splash it or something. And go about your business. It's kind of like set it and forget it, right? And what you're going to find is that you don't have that energy anymore. If it was from outside of you, if it's from inside of you, this isn't going to do anything. That means that there's something we have to go internally with, and we have to address, right? So here, the thing that's going to start happening here, and I actually feel that this is an energy that a lot of you are coming into, and this is why these readings are coming out for you, is that you are starting to wake up to this, and you are starting to take control of your own power. Again, yesterday I said a lot of you are starting to set down boundaries for yourself, and that's amazing. That's great, you know. But now we need to learn how to direct our will, right? It's great if we, you know, that's the first step, and that's a huge first step for us, an empath to realize is, wow, I gotta have better boundaries. It's so hard to do. I got to have better boundaries. And you're setting up those boundaries for yourself. The next step, if you've already done that and you've already set up boundaries, the next step is learning how to use your willpower to take action. Because that's something that empaths also have a hard time doing. We have a hard time creating our own lives. And that's really the next step. So when we create our lives, we do something that's very interesting. We create a better sense of identity. And, you know, instead of being psychic sponges, where it's almost like the feelings that are coming in and the ideas that are coming in, because telepathy is involved in this, and we almost get our sense of identity from other people that are around us. We start to fill that cup ourselves, and we start to have our own emotions welling out. And if your own emotions are the ones that are predominantly your focus, then other people's emotions don't have space. So focus on your emotions, allow your emotions and how you feel, and get in touch with how you feel. And get in touch also with, you know, because some people are empaths and they don't even realize it, because they adopt people's energies so far. I was like this. They adopt people's energies so far that they don't even realize that they're not theirs. And you may want to pay attention, right? Why do I feel this way? Do I have a reason to feel this way? Well, no. Am I sure that this is mine? And again, the salt trick is great for that. If it stays, it probably is. You know, and test that out. If you find that the salt trick never works for you, then it just doesn't work for you, and you've got to find your own way. That's how it is for a lot of this stuff. We have to find our own way. Okay, so a very strong message came out for me on that one. There's something here that we have to end. And what we have to end is this feeling of, when I see this card in this context, I don't know why this is what came up for me. Actually, I do know why, but it's really personal, so I'm not going to bring that one up. We'll keep it real here, but that's too real. What I picture here is I picture Princess Peach sitting around waiting for her Mario to save her. And this is a feeling that a lot of empaths have, right? You can probably resonate with this. We have this overwhelming feeling that my life will only be better if I get in this relationship, or if this type of person comes for me, or if this, if this happens, fill in the blank with whatever it is, whatever is really important to you and makes you feel whole. My life will be better when, but we don't focus on getting the better job, and we don't focus on, what do we want in our lives other than this person, or other than, we don't focus on ourselves. And again, we just keep coming back to this because that's the major hurdle for an empath. Your psychic energy since you're very young has been taken by other people. So you've been living your life for other people. And it's very hard to learn how to love yourself when that's how you've been living your life. It's very hard to learn how to come inside and pay attention to the self. We don't even know what that means. Somebody says that to us and we're like, what the hell does that even mean? And somewhere along the way it makes sense. So if you're watching this and you don't understand it and you don't get it, that's absolutely fine. Be patient with yourself. At some point it'll make sense when you're ready, and that's the big part of the psychic journey. When you're ready, I see a lot of people commenting in the comments about being closed off and trying so hard to open back up. It's okay when you're ready. These things come and go, right? And the most important thing is that we don't put pressure on ourselves. If you're a psychic empath, don't put pressure on yourself to get this right away, because then you'll never get it, right? Life is fun. Let life be fun. Life may not be fun right now, but accept that life can be fun. And the more that you approach life in this fun way, the more it's going to mirror fun back to you. The more serious you take life, the more serious it's going to make you have to be, right? Oh no, I got to get this bill paid. I got to do this. Oh no, I just lost my job. Take those circumstances that are happening to you right now and understand it doesn't have to be this way, right? There's nothing here preventing my life from being blissful. And, I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, right? Because a lot of people, they really do want to feel like things are happening to them, and they don't want to be told that I can do something about this, because they feel like the finger is getting pointed towards them at all their traumas and all their past experiences. And I understand that, right? But I can't change the narrative for you. If you're a person who listens to my readings and it really bothers you that this is something that comes out, which if you made it 20 minutes into this one, I really doubt that. But the thing is, I was that person. I understand completely where you're coming from. I'm just here to tell people that, sis, it doesn't have to be that way, right? Brother, it doesn't have to be that way. Life can be amazing. Life can be amazing. And you don't even have to be rich for it, Let's talk about my income. I'm a full-time artist, and I just got distracted for a week doing these YouTube videos. That's a week I did not make money, right? Other than a couple people gave me donations. Thank you so much. I know poverty. I spent a lot of my early 20s going 7 days a week, 9 days a week regularly, not eating. My first husband and I were dirt poor. He got still good friends, part of my soul family for sure. He got married, or I said first husband, didn't I? Ooh, maybe that means the second one's coming. Girl, claim it. But he got laid off as soon as we got back, or no, he got fired as soon as we got back from our honeymoon. Talk about bad timing. At the same time, I got my hours reduced to 4 days a week, and got my hours each day. It was terrible. And that was early 2000. And so it was a little hard for us to get another line of income coming. And there was a good portion of time there where for 9 days at a stretch, we would not be eating. And so we turned it into fasting day. We're gonna read the Bible or different spiritual texts, and we're going to fast, and we're going to turn this into a positive experience. So and other people don't understand that kind of poverty, right? You tell people I don't have money and they're still oh, you can't afford no, I can't, mofo. No, I can't. What do you not understand about broke? Oh, because most people, when they say they're broke, they still mean they got 10K in the bank stash somewhere, We're funny. We are funny. But that just goes to show you how entrenched it is, the victim mentality, right? We can have $10,000 stashed away somewhere, but we still want to be a victim. We still want to say we're broke, and we want to view ourselves that way. There are places in the world where that would set you up as a king, you know? And so the reason why this is coming out, I feel, for your reading, is that we have to understand the reality of our situation, and we have to understand what fact is from fiction, what we've adopted as a narrative and what is truth. We're not as bad off as we think we are. We as a human collective have been trained to view ourselves as helpless. Teachings of empowerment always been an occult teaching. It's something that's only been in the mystery schools. It's only been something that's hidden knowledge. That's what that means. That's hidden knowledge, reserved for a few. And it's 2024, and we need to be done with that. We need to be done with that. Yeah, there's just, I don't know, man. I feel like some of you are really in for like this funny, like, oh crap, kind of awakening coming up. That we're like, it's, you know, you have those moments, and tell me I'm wrong. Those of you who have been on this journey for a while, where the universe likes to occasionally spit out a low-key moment where it gives you a total mind F. Yeah, I feel like some of you have something that's coming up that's just going to be like total paradigm shift. And those are always really funny moments. Those are really funny moments. You're going to be like, oh my God, I remember that time when that happened, huh? Because there's always a moment of confusion when it happens. There's always this moment where you're like, what the hell? What? Oh my God, so funny. And I feel that coming. And that's going to have something to do with this energy right here. Because this is where I started laughing and talking about all this stuff. It's going to have something to do with this energy right here, where we put to rest this feeling of somebody's got to come save us. And the moment when you realize that nobody is coming to save you is like the most rug out from under the feet moment ever. You know, if all your time and all your energy is going to finding the one, to finding your twin flame, to finding this person that will complete you, I'm going to tell you right now, you've got a rug moment coming. You've got a carpet coming out from under your feet moment coming. Because with your abilities and your gifts, it is vital. It is necessary for you to really understand your self-power. So I wasn't going to share this, but I'm going to share this. You ready? Okay. I'm going to share this. One of the reasons why this stuff, like The Secret and all that stuff, and self-empowerment, and you are attracting constantly, was taught in mystery schools and was taught as hidden information, is because that is one of the ways to make the most powerful magician. And what I'm saying by that is that a lot of people that were attracted to these schools were empaths, right? Oftentimes it's empaths that are very in tune with that feminine energy, right? Of energy work. If you're a healer, you know what I'm talking about. If you're somebody who does psychic readings, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of you who are drawn to tarot, you're empaths, you know what I'm talking about. And these people would go and they would get initiated in these mysteries. What happens, what's going on with an empath's energy? We talked about it yesterday, right? An empath's energy is pulling in. We're not far from being energetic vampires in that way. In fact, you probably had partners in the past that treated you like you were one, right? Because we expect and we demand this energy from people that they're not willing to give, and we have a very hard time accepting that. Or, you know, not everybody, not all empaths, that's just a big part of empaths do. And we pull in energy, we absorb energy, right? We're magnetizing, we're that dark principle, that feminine principle. What happens when an empath switches on the God light, and I don't mean stepping in the light, anything like that, I'm talking about something that goes on inside where we understand, oh, I am not getting saved. I am my own savior. I am my own creator. And, you know, no offense to Jesus, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about in this life, you know, with your job and your home and your career and everything. I am the one that is a conscious creator. I'm the one that is, you know, I'm the one doing this. I'm the one making this. Nobody else is going to help me but me. Once you reach that point and you understand your sovereignty over your choices, how your choices are affecting your reality, how you are getting in your own way, once you realize that and you start putting up your boundaries, you start living in your authenticity, you start showing up unapologetically, you start filling in the space, now all that powerful pulling in of energy and all that powerful like magnetization flips its magnetic end, and now everything is affected by us. It's like this supernova, right? And I don't mean like empath supernova. A lot of people talk about that when they're talking about how we explode because we held things in too long, because we didn't take up space, which we don't have a right to have that reaction because we didn't let people what we wanted and what our boundaries were in the first place. But I'm talking more of a very positive spiritual supernova. It's where, you know, because that's what happens with a star, right? It starts to pull in its energy because it goes cold. And then at the death of a star, it explodes. And that's what happens with a psychic empath. That is a psychic empath's version of an ego death right there, is when we realize you're not so important that there's somebody out there that's going to come save you, right? You're not so important that somebody has to come rescue you. Everybody on this earth has to rescue themselves. And when we have that ego death, because think about it, right? When we are so worried about how we're affecting people, what does that mean? We're in our ego thinking that we are so important that we're affecting everybody. No, you can be a human being and occupy your space. And they can be a human being and occupy their space. And that's not going to ruin their life. You're not that important to their story. Right? I just want to put it in a different frame so that we can think about it a little bit, because that's our ego. Our empathic ego operates a little bit of a different way than other people. And when you have that ego death, it's just like that star. It's supernovas. What you're going to notice is you start having extreme telepathic connections with people. And that's why in these mystery schools, one of the things that they were teaching, along with you affect your reality, is how to control that, how to be in power of yourself, how to control your mind, meditate, you know, take your thoughts back, be present in the moment, because it's very important for an empath who has gone nova, who has awoken to their power of sovereignty within themselves, not to negatively impact people with their thoughts. So just a little bit of a occult esoteric tidbit for you that probably doesn't get talked about. And yeah, so as an empath, you have a lot more power than you realize. You have a lot more power than you realize, because we're kind of the caretakers of human energy. That's another role that we fill. If you ascribe to the shamanic paradigm, you know, where we're caretakers of the dead and caretakers of the underworld and the upper world, this is kind of the middle world work. Right? We're caretakers of the middle world energy, of transmuting the energy in the spaces that we're in if we're empowered, of using our energy to change things, of using our thoughts to help people feel better, right? So many of you leave comments and you say something about like being able to feel the energy ripple out to you, being able to feel the love. That's what a psychic empath does when they've come into their power. They can make people feel it through their screens. This is what you're called to do. This is what you're called to do. You're called to influence people in positive ways, right? You can influence people in negative ways if you want. I'm not here to tell you what's right and wrong. But yeah, that's the role, right? So it's very important that we get rid of this, that we get rid of this place where we are a blank space and we're waiting for someone to tell us who we are, how to live our life, which direction to go, right? I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to you know, if you recognize this as your story, I want to challenge you to stop asking other people what you should do, right? Stop asking other people what they want to eat. Stop asking other people where they want to go. Start telling people, hey, do you mind eating here? You know, figure out what you want. That's really hard. That's really hard. Figure out what you want. Figure out where you want to go. Tell somebody, hey, like, you know, I want to go do this. Are you cool if we do that this time, right? I challenge you, try that. Take up more space. I guarantee you, a lot of you're going to find that the people around you are very happy to accommodate that. And if they're not, you got to ask some questions. There's some tough questions to ask there, you know? And that's how we have to start viewing our world, right? We have to start having discernment over how people are meeting us. Are we constantly having people overstep their boundaries and we follow them? Or are people willing to meet us halfway? So this one's gotten a little long. I hope those exercises can help you guys. I hope that the information can help you guys. Yeah, I hope this helps you guys. So take care. Feel free to leave me a comment. Feel free to like this video. Help each other out in the comments. If there's things that you do for yourself, for your own empathy, and you realize that this helps you and you want to share, by all means, leave it in the comments. You know, let's help each other out, because there's nothing about this stuff. You know, there's no good information out there about this stuff. And if you know of any that have helped you, share that. So yeah, until next time.